Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Del Barzi. And as always, if you like what you see and hear, leave us a comment, subscribe. Today, I am very honored to have as a guest, Dr. Sylette De Bois. And Dr. Sylette is the founder of the conglomerate, Dr. Sylette Enterprise Incorporated and Nursing First LLC, where she educates, consults, and coaches hundreds of nurses each year. Through her company, she offers inspiration and empowerment to the nursing community and healthcare facilities across the nation. She received her doctorate in nursing with a focus of healthcare leadership in 2017. And since then, she has been nonstop trying to improve healthcare with her effective leadership style. She's been a nurse for over 20 years and has worked in many facets of healthcare. As a community servant, she serves as a reviewer for the continuing education unit with the Georgia Nurses Association. She is also an active member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Inc. and the Nursing Honors Society Sigma. She recently authored 5 books, 4 of which are self-published. She also serves as an assistant professor for a major nursing university for the past 6 years. Over the past 10 years, she has mentored thousands of nurses, nursing students, and nurse entrepreneurs. Raised in a family of entrepreneurs, sister of national recording artist, Grammy-nominated fitness expert and entrepreneur Selena Johnson, an entrepreneur, university professor, and mogul in TV, film, and music, Dr. Sylette. Also, daughter of the first Black female commissioner in the United States, and celebrity mama, Brenda Thompson, and the Blues Hall of Fame legend, Syl Johnson. Entrepreneurship and greatness has been in her blood since birth. Dr. Sylette is a speaker, educator, and author who has authored and organized and spoken at various healthcare workshops. Ultimately, her goal is to provide nurses the tools to be successful in their profession. She believes that advocating for nursing success is promoting quality patient care. Sylette's mission is to educate and inspire as many individuals in the nursing profession as she can, and nothing will get in the way of this God-given purpose. She is the startup coach for new nurse entrepreneurs. Dr. Sylette.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
So much you have done.
And I'm just getting started.
I'm just getting started. All right, man. I like that. I love that. But tell me a little bit about why you're a nurse, first of all.
Okay, it's not the glamorous story everybody thinks. Most nurses you talk to have this glamorous story, you know, I saw a nurse one day, or a nurse took care of me, or a nurse took care of my family, and that's why I was in high school and I wanted to be a journalist. Okay. I wanted to write stories, and I was shy and quiet.
Okay.
But I still wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to interview people. I wanted to write stories. Senior year in high school, I looked at a picture in a book. It was our yearbook. And I saw a picture of a nurse. And I said, that's what I want to do. No, it's not glamorous. And maybe that was God's way of saying, this is your purpose. I know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Let me show you what you have to do. And that's how it happened. Here we are, 30, 40 years later. 40 plus.
40 plus years later. All right. You know, I get it. I think that many of us didn't actually start out really wanting it. Some people did, but many of us along the way, something just kind of like grabbed you and you were here, and your feet just kept going in that direction. Right? Okay.
Exactly. That's how it happened.
So with all that you have done, where have you worked? In what kinds of areas? And what in all of this drew you then into entrepreneurship?
So once again, entrepreneurship has been in my blood since I was little. But I have worked in hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, home care, just anything you can imagine. I've worked everywhere from intensive care unit with adults, neonatal intensive care, and everything in between. Only thing I really have never done, well, it's a lot of things I haven't done because nursing is so big.
I know too.
So it's a lot that I haven't done, but everything I have done has been purposeful. It has led me to teaching.
Okay.
So I officially started being in the capacity of a teacher in 2010. And that was when I worked for the state of Georgia. Then in 2014 is when I started actually teaching at a university. So when I moved here to Atlanta, originally from Chicago, but when I moved here to Atlanta in 2009, in 2010, when I started working for the state, I was educating people that wanted to have a nurse aid training program.
Okay.
So that gave me my first sort of exposure to, oh, this is the structure. This is how you set up a business.
Yeah.
But I was doing business before that. I was doing business in Chicago, working for a home care agency. The word got around that I was good at helping home care agencies pass their state review. So people would pay me to come in, look at their books, and I didn't know what that was called. I didn't know I was a consultant. I was just like, oh, okay. They would say, how much you want us to pay you? I don't know, $100. Whatever you want to give me. I don't know. How much do I make an hour? I don't know. So the entrepreneurship, like I said, has always been in me because when I was younger, we owned a restaurant, which is a famous restaurant in Chicago, Solomon's Fishery.
Okay.
And my father had us working in it, you know, child slave labor, you know? So I think I was like 16 when we first started working at the restaurant. And so it's just been there. And then my father, entertainer all my life. So he never had a clock in, clock out. So that's just what we knew.
So coming from that kind of background to this more regimented, for want of a better word, nursing clock in, clock out and stuff like that. What the adjustment challenges for you?
Oh, you know what? I don't even think there was an adjustment because of the era I was brought up in.
Okay.
So even though entrepreneurship was in my blood, and my mother, even though she worked for like the city and then she went into politics, and so she really made her own schedule too. So here it is, we see dad, entertainer, flying in and out, going to different countries, singing on his own time, no clock in, clock out. My mom, she had a bit of a structure at the very beginning, but she was a stay-home mom for most of my life. I mean, you know, up until my youngest sister was born.
Okay.
So when she started working, it was for the city, and then she got into politics. So long story short, that's what I knew was entrepreneurship, but it was in my blood. It wasn't in our raising or our teaching.
I get it.
So to my mother, it was get a good job, you know, ooh, don't leave that good job. You know, even though she wasn't clocking in and clocking out. Neither was my father, but it was just like, yeah, you got a good job.
Yeah.
But then my sister, who's the youngest, who's the singer in the family, she never really had a clock in, clock out. But I guess I was raised in that era where you better get a good job because out here in this world is so cruel and, you know, unstable with entertainment. Get a good job. So, like I said, that's just how I was raised, to get a job.
Yeah. And so you talk about how you believe that you know, empowering nurses is actually improving healthcare. What advice do you have for nurses?
Don't beg for that seat at the table. Stop it. Just talking to some nurses the other day that I coach. Stop begging for that seat at the table. Oh, I went up for this management position and I didn't get it, and they picked someone else, and they show favoritism, and I've been working long hours for 20 years and they looked over me. Stop begging. Stop begging. Our patients need us, and they need us in so many different ways, and it's not just clock in and clock out ways.
Exactly.
That's where entrepreneurship comes from. Nurses now more than ever need to be self-employed, even if it's not fully self-employed, because I get the wanting to stay in the hospital and provide that care. That's the beauty of who we are. That's what we do. So if you have, if you're going a couple of shifts or whatever, that's still on your own time. That's still you creating and working passionately with patients, even if it's for someone else, but you're making a difference though. But the real way I believe we can make a difference is to build our table and bring other nurses with us.
I absolutely agree with you. I think we are the ones who have to put ourselves in a position to effect whatever changes we see that need to be effected. And nobody's going to do it for us. No, nobody's going to do it for us. We need to change people's perception, first of all, of who a nurse is. Right? Because people have this one track mind. If you tell somebody you're a nurse, they want to know what hospital you work in. You say you don't work in a hospital, you work from home.
My true story, my sisters, lived, raised, born with, they've been around me. And when I started teaching for a university, they said, so you're not a nurse anymore.
Wherever did you get that idea?
I don't know. Maybe they don't realize that to teach nurses, you must be a nurse. I don't know,
Oh
yes,
my
I'm
goodness.
still a nurse, everyone.
All right. So you're a nurse, you're an educator, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author. What have you written?
Ooh. So on Amazon, so when I say self-published, that means wrote the book, paid for someone to edit it, and uploaded it to Amazon to sell. That's self-published, no publishing company.
Right.
So I have Entrepreneurship and the Hard Road, which was written with other nurses, and that's on Amazon. I have Nurse Retention. It's a teaching strategy for nurse managers. It's for nurse leaders. That's on Amazon, written and published by me. I have what I call the Nurse Buddy. It's a journal. It's a journal that was created from my love for my students, because I started seeing that the pressure of nursing school, which we all know, but what can we do about it? Because when we went to school, quit your job. That's it. You're going to nursing school. That is it. That's what they told us in nursing school. You cannot work. Now I had children, so I worked part-time at night on the weekends. But nowadays, that's not the typical student.
That's right.
They leave school and go to work. They work 12 hours. They work 4 or 5 days a week and go to school. So my goal with the Nurse Buddy was to create a journal that keeps the student from dumping. So when we were in nursing school, focus. Them, it's nursing school. Now I have to go home, take care of kids. I have to go to work. I have to do this. I don't remember what from test to test, what I just studied. I don't remember from class to class. So the Nurse Buddy is a 200-page journal for them to write down all of the goodies, everything that they learned, their takeaways from each class, each clinical, each lesson, each professor, and carry it with them into nursing. Then I've written, I had it here, but my book, The Nurse Entrepreneur Startup Guide. That's my 4th book. It's not on Amazon, but it is on my website for sale. And what it is it helps the novice nurse entrepreneur start from scratch. Where do I start? I want to start a business. I hear everybody's doing it. Where do I start? Pick up my book. That's where. And then another book that I've done, which it wasn't mine. Actually, I wrote a chapter with other nurses. It's called The Power of Women in Memberships. Oh my goodness, they'd kill me because I forgot the name of it. But it is also on Amazon. It's not my book, but it is my book. It is my book. I should claim it. And then I have a bunch of ebooks because I love books. I love to read. I'm an avid reader. I'm an audiobook fan, so I'll be doing an audiobook soon. So love it, love it, love it.
All right then. So of all that you've done, I don't want to ask what you're most proud of, because I know you're proud of most of this, but what would you say is your biggest achievement so far?
Teaching those undergrad nurses. Yeah. And more recently, I get this all the time, disclaimer, but more recently, a student sent me an email that graduated maybe a year ago and said, Dr. D, because they call me Dr. D or Professor D, I passed the NCLEX. Thank you for all of your support, your guidance, your wisdom. That is my biggest accomplishment. And that's in nursing to me. I love taking care of patients. I've had patients that weren't well and then they were with me, so it's been a lot. I've done a lot. Even entrepreneurship, helping other entrepreneurs and then seeing their businesses grow. And they're like, thank you, Sylette. And I'm like, I call that teaching still.
That is teaching.
Yeah.
That is teaching.
So teaching has been my biggest, that's been my most favorite thing to do as a nurse, is to teach. Yeah. Because when I teach, I do affect patients. Yes. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, you do.
So that's been my most favorite. That's been my biggest accomplishment.
So these days, everybody's talking about burnout. What can we do about it, Sylette?
Okay, so I did my doctorate on compassion fatigue. It's real. Burnout is real. Compassion fatigue is real. I just recently experienced personal compassion fatigue, taking care of my father in my home on hospice.
Okay.
So it's real. It's all real. Here's the thing. It's been going on forever. I tell students, if you were right now to Google nursing shortage, nurse burnout, you would get articles as far back as the 50s. That's how long it's been going on. Yeah. It's sometimes a thankless job, sometimes, but it's what we signed up for, right? But here's the thing. Personal care is going to be your savior. Personal care. You do it, it gives you a rush. Oh, I love it. I'm working 3 12s in a row. But then after that, you go, I'm beat, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. Okay, take time. Yeah. Take time, recharge, and come back. Because the truth is, burnout, compassion fatigue, stress, trauma, none of that is new. And it's not only nursing. But what has happened with the pandemic is it has been exposed. People are quitting at record rates.
It's a tsunami, honey.
It's a tsunami of goodbye. Yeah. So it's been exposed, and that's because it was such a push, not just by the hospitals, but government. You know how they say the crap rolls downhill. Yeah. So you know who gets it. So self-care, I'm telling you, as an instructor, when I first started, you're gung-ho. You're teaching all day. You come home, you're grading all night. You're answering students' emails, text messages all night. On the weekends, I had to go, wait a minute. I'm starting to hate what I do. And I don't want to do that because I love it. Yeah. So what do? I tell my students, don't call me after 5 o'clock. They laugh. I say, okay, you can call me. I'm not answering. When I leave here from teaching, I have laid it all out. I've given them everything. So now when I go home, it's me time. Yeah. I'm not answering phones, text messages. I'm not opening the computer. I'm not looking at emails. I'm not grading. I'm not doing anything because tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. 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 And there is nothing so urgent that you have to deal with it after your day is done.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-care, that's the only thing that's going to get us through it. I do not want us quitting nursing because they need us.
Yeah. And we need it.
Yeah.
And we need it.
We need it.
Yeah.
We take care of everybody else, right? How do you take care of people if you're not taken care of?
Yeah. And the things that we do to ourselves, or the things that we accept for ourselves, we would never accept for our patients.
Nope.
We would never accept for our
We'd fuss at them. You need to stop stressing. You're not going to get better. We do all of that, and then we go home and overeat and undereat and stress out and don't sleep, but we yell at them.
Yeah. What do you mean? 8 hours have passed. You haven't passed urine? And
we're 12 hours in, no urine. So yes, self-care. I know that sounds so simple. Everybody's like, yeah, okay, I knew you were going to give that little common answer. It's the truth, though.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And it's something I always ask, because I find self-care means so many different things to so many different people. And I really want some people to get that the big things in self-care, fine, but it's the little thing. It's the day-to-day thing that you do for you. It's just the 5 minutes of focusing on yourself and saying, oh, let me stand in front of the mirror and take some deep breaths right now before I step outside. Or,
I just said, I go home. That's nothing elaborate. That's not the big stuff they say. I said, I go home. I don't answer emails, phones,
exactly,
text, and I just watch movies.
Yeah.
That's self-care.
Yeah.
Didn't cost a thing, did it? Just me laying down watching TV. Didn't cost a thing.
Yeah. So we have to pay attention. We have to learn to leave it there. That's why it's a 24-hour thing. Someone else is taking care of it. Let it go. Go home. This is your time. Mm-hmm. So I'm collecting these words, Sylette.
Okay.
I want to know what nurses see in nurses. And so I ask, if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in just one word, what would that word be?
Resilience.
Resilience. Okay, that word comes up.
I mean, that's it. What do we have to be personally and professionally?
Yeah.
Because in life, forget nursing, that's what we do. That's not who we are. In life, you have to be resilient. Things happen. You need to be able to bounce back.
Yeah.
Because it's life. I mean, I just watched my father pass away in front of me. Mm-hmm. And a man that wanted to live, but he was 85, not saying, oh, that's so old and it was time. Because to you, it's never time for your parents to go.
No,
I don't care if they're 100. So he wanted to live, but the way he died was very peaceful. In the house with me, because that's where he wanted to be. He was in Chicago. I went and got him, brought him here to Georgia. Mm-hmm. So he died in the house with me, my other 2 sisters, laying right in the bed with him, and just peacefully went on.
Yeah.
No trauma, no, chest compressions and call 911, just stop to breathe.
Sleep away. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So if you look at life like that, all of this, getting down and depressed, and you have to say to yourself, I'm a human being, so it's okay for me to get down. It's okay for me to get depressed. It's okay for me to cry. Yeah. It's okay for me to say I'm burnt out. I have compassion fatigue. I'm stressed. I've had traumas in my life. I've been through divorce. I've lost a child, and I haven't. I'm just throwing out stuff. Yeah. It's okay for you to admit all of that and be sad about it and have your moment. But what's not okay is for you to give up, because my father didn't.
Yeah.
He lived until he took his last breath. Mm-hmm. He was cussing everybody out, fussing at everybody, just yelling at me 2 days before that. So he lived, people. He was 85, and my daddy did everything he wanted to do, just about. He lived.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have said he could have done this different, that different. Who's not going to say that?
Yeah. I mean, as they say, hindsight is 20/20 vision. Yep. But those things come together to make you who you are and make you make the decisions you make when you make them. So you don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yep. So resilience. That's what we need to get down, to be sad, and then to get back up, to keep it moving, because we have work to do.
Yeah. And it's I liken nursing, when I think about emotion in nursing, almost as though you have to be some kind of a chameleon, because in 1 minute, in 1 minute you are dealing with someone who is traumatized and probably facing their worst day and all of that kind of thing. And you have to be empathetic towards that person.
Yes.
And in the very next minute, you're dealing with someone who's like, wow, I didn't think I was going to be able to go home. And you've got to, be empathetic with that person. Yeah. And it takes a bit out of you to switch, to make those kinds of switches. Most of them are not that drastic, but often it is. Resilience comes in big there. Mm-hmm.
I tell people I have taken care of patients from birth to death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've done mother baby, neonatal intensive care, all the way to adult ICU and long-term care. And the one thing that's consistent is, guess what? We're all human beings. We all have to live. We all have to die. Yeah. We will be born and we will die.
Yeah.
So there's the drastic right there. That, we see life and we see death.
We see that. Mm-hmm.
And nurses, we're in between all of that. When I worked in adult ICU, one of the questions my students always ask me when they're talking about my experience and they're asking me questions is, how did you take care of pediatric babies and the babies were dying in front of you? Wasn't that hard? And I say, you know what? Of course it's hard. Death is hard. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if they're your family or not. But the one thing that really upset me was seeing people my age dying.
Yeah.
That was more traumatizing to me than the babies. To me, the babies were like, let me love on them until they go. They're going to be angels and you're just good with it, right? It's sad, but you're good with it. You're sad for the families.
Yeah.
With adults, we start looking at our own immortality like, oh man,
yeah,
I need to start doing that. Oh,
yeah.
We start making up ailments,
Yeah.
So I told them, this is how I used to handle all of that extreme that you were just talking about. I would cry in the car before and cry in the car after.
Yeah.
But when I was in the building, in ICU, you could ask, I tell everybody, you can ask anybody that's ever worked with me, Sylette, you're so positive. You're always so happy. You have such a great attitude. You're right, because this is my role, stage and scene. Hey, Mr. Jones, how you doing, Mr. Jones? Oh, don't feel like that. Oh, we're going to take care of you, Mr. Jones. You feeling all right? Oh, yeah. And then get right back in the car and cry again.
This cathartic moment in the car.
But the patients shouldn't have to feel that. They shouldn't have to feel my attitude before work or after work. So you're right. There's an extreme that we have to deal with, but we have to be chameleons. It's a role we have to play when we're in front of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The role we have to play. And, I think we're pretty good at it sometimes.
Yes.
I think we're pretty good at it. And we don't give ourselves enough credit I believe we don't give ourselves enough credit for how good we have become at it. And how nurturing we can be to those who are coming, to the younger nurses. We don't give ourselves enough credit for that.
I think we internalize it and think that we're the only ones going through it, or even if we don't think we're the only ones, we may think it's not right to feel that way.
Yes.
But yes, it is.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's okay to cry if a patient dies, even if you just met them.
I know, exactly. It is right. It is right. It is okay. It is, because as you said, we are human.
At the end of the day, we see it. We see birth. We see death. Ooh, human being all up in between there. Everything that happens.
Yeah.
Human being stuff.
Yeah.
Dr. Sylette.
Yes.
Thank you. You have been awesome. I mean, I have enjoyed this conversation. We have talked about everything from everything to everything.
Yes.
But I love it, and I really do appreciate you taking the time
to have this conversation, to share just a little bit. And, you know, the fact that you are teaching and your company is, I love the end of your bio, because you say nothing is going to get in the way of this God-given thing.
No. I opened up that book, you all, and I saw a nurse and I said, that's what I want to do. Here we are, some 30, 40, whatever years later. I can't count. So no, they're not going to get in my way.
That's really awesome. I felt that as I read it, and I felt that positive thing just come right at me. I was like, all right, she's got this. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.